This is the Infinix Note 50 Pro 4G, Infinix's latest entry into the mid-range-ish space. And in their usual fashion, they've made some really interesting choices with this device, from the design to the charging and of course the AI features. But how do all of these stack up? Well, we've been using this for a bit and there are some good features and not so good, others that are just as surprising for this phone at this price point. So let's break it down. Without further ado, let's get into the video. Let's start with the design, because this is where Infinix is really stepping things up. The Note 50 Pro is designed with a material that they are calling armor alloy for the metal frame. That is what is around the phone. The claim is that it combines steel and aerospace grade aluminum alloy, and this is actually something you don't see often in mid-range phones. Most budget phones and mid-range phones go with plastic to save cost, but this one has that perk for the build quality. I think it's a plus. But they're also claiming that this material offers 40% stronger corner protection and 50% better motherboard protection. It's difficult to conclude whether or not these numbers actually translate to a more durable device without actually drop testing this multiple times. Still though, I have to say that it feels sturdier than most phones at this price point, and the edges are really strong. To top it off, they also added a pretty solid and good looking protective case in the box. So protection wise, I think Infinix really has the user covered with one of these, and it has this magnetic circle on the inside for wireless charging. I will talk about it later in the video. On the topic of colors, you can choose between the titanium gray, enchanted purple, and the racing edition that they designed in collaboration with BMW. The enchanted purple, which is the one we have here, stands out the most with its bold accents. So there's a color for every taste, whether you like the natural colors or the bold colors, you have an option. Whatever color you choose, it is designed with a matte finish on the back that resists fingerprint smudges pretty well. And as is the trend with most smartphones over the last year or two, you get a flat, boxy design, and overall it feels solid in the hand. I also have to mention that for a phone of this size, it's got a pretty comfortable weight. The only thing I think that is left that would have made this perfect would have been an IP rating, but Infinix doesn't mention any official IP rating. Now let's talk about the screen, because this is one of the better features of this phone. You're looking at a 6.78-inch AMOLED panel with a 144Hz refresh rate. That's a high refresh rate for a phone of this price range, probably the highest that I've seen in this price range. Scrolling through apps, animations, and gaming, it's a noticeable step up from the usual 60Hz or even 90Hz screens that most phones in this category get. Some would even get as high as 120Hz, but Infinix decided to step it up here and give us 144Hz. And because it's AMOLED, you're getting deep blacks, punchy colors, and 1300 nits of peak brightness, so outdoor visibility should be decent. The bezels are pretty thin, and for the selfie camera, it's a small punch hole right at the top there in the center. There are no curved edges here, so you just get a flat display, as I mentioned earlier. You know, the new trend. So if you're watching videos, playing games, or just scrolling social media, this is a device that will offer a very seamless experience, all things considered. Alright, so how does this phone actually perform? Well, performance gets the job done, and there's still some room to grow for the Infinix Note 50 Pro 4G. On paper, you're getting a MediaTek Helio G100 processor, which is mostly unsurprising. It's a pretty common processor for most of the devices in this price range. While it's not designed for heavy-duty tasks and applications, you get a pretty decent performance for everyday use. However, it has an edge when it comes to battery efficiency, but we'll get to that later in the video. The unit that I got came with 8GB of base RAM, and it can also get an additional 8GB of virtual RAM, bringing it to a total of 16GB of RAM. Keep in mind that the virtual RAM comes from the 256GB storage that you're getting on this phone. As at the time of making this video, I cannot confirm that there's a larger storage version available, but there's a larger RAM option with 12GB of base RAM. So when it comes to day-to-day performance, this is solid. Social media, web browsing, light gaming, all of that are smooth. The 144Hz screen helps make everything feel faster too. Multitasking is fine, and you won't notice major slowdowns unless you're pushing it really hard with really demanding apps. Now, gaming wise, it handles Call of Duty Mobile and Asphalt 9 pretty well without frame drops. But of course, this will not be the highest graphics settings on these games. Infinix also boasts a comprehensive cooling system for this device, and I can say that in the time that I've had it, I didn't experience any serious heating issues. Somewhere I wish I saw more shine on the performance front is that it is not 5G enabled. It's not a 5G enabled device. It may not be a big deal for most people, but it's worth mentioning considering that it's 2025 and features like these are now more common. On the software side, it's running XOS 15 on top of Android 15. Now, I have to mention that while XOS has gotten tough criticism in the past, it has seen significant improvement over time. You still get a few pre-installed apps, but it's nowhere near as intrusive as it used to be. It's also powering a lot of AI features. So let's do a quick run of the coolest AI features that you're getting on the Infinix Note 50 Pro 4G. Infinix's AI assistant Folax now has the voice of Davido, a popular Nigerian musician. I got an update that this was the case, so we decided to test it out, and I set a couple of questions for it. The team and I set up a couple of questions that we would ask it as if we were asking Davido. So here goes. What do you do for a living?
I'm an AI assistant, here to help you with anything you need on your phone. Think of me as your personal digital helper. I can help you find information, set reminders, send messages, and much more. What can I do for you today?
What is the capital of the Nigerian state? Edo.
The capital of Edo State in Nigeria is Benin City. This is confirmed by multiple sources, including Wikipedia pages and Britannica, which consistently identify Benin City as the state's capital and largest urban center. The city is also noted for its historical significance and infrastructure connections to other regions in Nigeria.
How does Davido make his music in 50 words? Say it as if you are Davido, like say it like you are the one. So DeepSeek R1 is really detailed, by the way. If you can see like the everything.
Yo! I cook my sound by collabing with map producers, blending Afrobeat with global vibes, pop, R&B, you name it. We focus on fire rhythms, melodies that stick, and lyrics you feel.
So as you saw, it used DeepSeek R1 to browse the internet for AI data that was outside its own data set, and it synthesized it in a presentable way to answer those questions right on your phone. Another AI feature is you opening your camera, pointing your phone at something and just pressing the AI button and asking Infinix AI, what am I looking at? And it will scan the image and tell you exactly what is in the frame. You can do this for anything, whether it's a website or whether you're browsing an actual image online. Just press the power button, press and hold on the power button, and the Infinix AI pops up, and you can then ask it what is on my screen or what am I looking at. You can of course summarize web pages, emails, whole interviews, everything. All of those things are very nice, but those are the two that stood out to me. All right, let's talk about cameras, probably one of the most important parts of any phone. And I think Infinix treated this as such. The Infinix Note 50 series come with a 50 megapixel main sensor with optical image stabilization. In good lighting, it takes sharp, detailed photos, although the image processing can sometimes be a hit or miss, especially if you've taken the photo in unfavorable lighting conditions. Nothing like shooting in bright lights, really. When recording videos, the effect of image stabilization was very evident, and you can see this with these sample clips. Keep in mind that the stabilization comes with quite a crop, and it's also restricted to 1080p resolution. When you shoot without the stabilization turned on, you can go as high as 2K resolution on the Infinix Note 50 Pro 4G. But in low light conditions, you do start to see the familiar mid-range struggles. Night mode helps brighten things up, but you'll still notice some little noise. The selfie camera is decent and it performs as you would expect it to. If you're taking selfies with good lighting, everything comes out nice. Image processing is great and the skin tones look pretty accurate. So in a way, it boils down to what you like photos to look like in terms of image processing and colors. This is a video recording from the Infinix Note 50 Pro. Let me know what you think about this video quality as well as the sound quality in the comments below. Now let's talk about battery and charging. This is one department where the Infinix Note 50 series really shines. It packs a 5200 mAh battery, which easily lasts a full day of heavy use, and it can stretch into the next day with lighter use. One thing to note is that the Helio G100 chip that it gets is actually designed to offer battery efficiency. And I have to say that this device has one of the best standby battery performances on the market. But the real standout feature is when it comes to charging. You get 90 watt wired fast charging. It's capable of 30 watt wireless charging. And even better, if you use the case that comes in the box, you get a magnetic add-on right there. And it's a big leap, when you are considering devices in this category. Infinix is setting the trend. They set the trend with the Infinix Note 30 series and they've kept it up since. So really good job here. I like that it's magnetic and it just stays. Well done. A few extra things to note before you go. You're getting stereo speakers that are really good. The stereo speakers here are designed by JBL, and Infinix says they've added some changes to the boost and bass here, but you'll be judged that this is how it actually sounds from our test. seems as if Nigerians woke up one morning and realized that calls and data prices have increased by 50%. You also get an in-display fingerprint reader that has a very impressive response time. I really like it. This is how that works. At this price range, I was pleasantly surprised by how quickly the fingerprint sensor responded, and there were very few times, if any, that it didn't work properly, so kudos for that. You also get this active halo light that shows up for notifications, recordings, it flashes for calls, and a couple of other settings that you can enable or disable. I found the camera bump to be very different than what you would expect normally. Quite interesting. The Infinix NOTE 50 Pro is going for 368,800 Naira or around $230. But if you don't want to spend as much, you can actually spend about 60k less on the regular Infinix NOTE 50. It's 311,500 Naira. But for the price of 368k, you're getting a well-built phone with great display, fast charging, decent performance. Of course, certain trade-offs here and there, but it's difficult to complain at this price point. But for what you're getting, I think it's not so bad. Well, that's it for me. Let me know what your thoughts are about Infinix NOTE 50 Pro based on everything you've seen in this video. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. If you have any questions, do drop them there. I'll be right there chatting with you guys. Thank you so much for watching. See you in the next one.